Hi, this is Edouard from RacontR, and in this video I'm going to give you a tour of our new data plugins that will help you display and explain your data in an interactive way. So we are here in our RacontR editor, and we'll start by dragging on the page the first new element, the bar chart plugin. To do that, you need to click on the Add button in the top left menu, as you do for any other element you want to add, and then you select the bar chart element. The Properties window opens up straight away. You can choose between a horizontal or vertical layout for your chart, with or without animations on your columns. Then you can decide what scale of values you need your chart to cover. Underneath, you'll find the part for your data input, with the name for the first column, its value, whether you want it to trigger a click action on another element on the page or not, and then the choice for its color. You can add as many columns as you need to by clicking on the Add an Element button. And finally, you have the possibility to trigger an animation on another element on the page if you need to, in addition to the individual actions on each of your chart's columns. You also have the choice between different effects for this animation. And once you're done, don't forget to click Apply. Now let's go through the same process with the Round Chart plugin by clicking on the Add Element tab. You select the Round Chart element, and the Element Properties window pops in automatically. You'll quickly notice its similarities with the previous plugin. This time, you can choose between two circular shapes, a donut shape, and a more traditional pie shape. You can also set up an animation for your chart. You will now lay down your data input. Here you name your different parts and their value in the chart, and whether you want to trigger a click action on an element on the scene. You then choose its color. By clicking on the Add an Element button, you set up the number of parts you need in your chart. And finally, just like the bar chart, you can choose to trigger another action on an element on the scene if you need to. Now let's have a look at our third new data visualization plugin, the Data Viz. Click on the Add Element tab and select the Data Viz element. The Element Properties window opens up to help you set up your plugin. The configuration process is quite simple, as you can see. Start with the choice of an icon for the layout. Here, I'll stay with the default icon. Next, you decide what size your icons will be. The unit here is in pixels, as well as a size for the margin between those icons. You choose how many icons you want on your data viz and their default color. And next, we're going to choose the distribution of your data on the chart. Click on the Add Element button and indicate a value for each of our elements. Then choose a color for each group of data. You validate your choices by clicking on Apply. Our tour of the new data visualization plugins is over, and I'm going to walk you through the setup I chose to illustrate a little bit the potential of these new plugins. On the editor, you can see two elements, a bar chart and a round chart. When you click on the layer stack, you notice that I prepared other elements with the zero opacity for the moment. I have placed these elements on the scene to give you a better idea of what you can do with the new plugins. So let's have a closer look at the chart's setup. The bar chart first. I select it in the layer stack, and then I click on its properties. You can see I chose a horizontal chart with an animation and with values ranging from 0 to 100. I then named each column, gave them a specific value, and I chose for each one of them to trigger an action on a text block. Previously, I set up those text elements for click actions. The opacity will go from none to full, and a data viz will appear next to them with its icons in order to illustrate the data. Of course, I've chosen colors for each one of my columns. Finally, I chose not to trigger any further action on my charts. I close this window and open up the Properties window for the Round Chart element. Here we have a pie chart with an animation. We have the different parts with the different names, values, and this time I chose not to have any action triggered by the different parts of the chart. Colors have been selected as well, of course. Finally, we have a click action triggered on an element placed on the scene, which is a RacontR logo that will appear when we click on the pie chart. Now let's preview the results. To do so, you need to click on the eye-shaped icon in the top right corner of the editor. We can see our main charts on the scene, and when I click on one of the bar chart columns, our text and data viz appear in full opacity. Each part of the chart triggers the action linked on the different elements. Now finally, notice how you can modify the round chart by clicking on the captions below. This allows the viewer to hide or show parts of the data. And if I click on the overall chart, we have our RacontR logo pop in. There you go. You now have all the information you need to start working with these new RacontR plugins.